Hello, and welcome to Make a Difference, the show about how volunteers are making a difference every day right here in Montgomery County. I'm your host, Sandy Smith. Today's guest is new to the Volunteer Center. Let's welcome Lindsay Luhn, AmeriCorps Seniors Program Manager for Montgomery County. Welcome to Make a Difference and MoCo Volunteer Center, Lindsay.
Thanks so much, Sandy. I'm so happy to be here.
We're really glad to have you. So to begin with, what is your role at the Volunteer Center?
So as the AmeriCorps Seniors Program Manager, I am in charge of managing our AmeriCorps Seniors grant and then the volunteer stations that fall under that. So basically, I'm overseeing the grant that supports DHHS Bone Builders, as well as our in-house 50+ volunteer network, and then our AARP Tax Aide Program. So really, I'm here to support members of the community who are aged 50 and older, folks that are retired, starting to retire, thinking about retiring, and who want to stay active in the community and volunteer.
Fabulous. You've spent a lot of time working with nonprofits. What type of volunteerism have you done?
A lot of my work has been hands-on fixing homes. So I've spent a number of years volunteering and working for organizations that are focused on home repair for low-income folks. So I most recently came from Rebuilding Together, who does free home repairs for income qualifying homeowners. And so I managed both contractors and the volunteer programs to do that. So I've spent many years both volunteering and then overseeing volunteers, managing volunteers, and supporting volunteers.
In your opinion, how important is volunteering?
Oh, volunteering is everything. That is the way that things get done in this community and across this country, and that's the way that you connect with others around you. I think that volunteering is a core piece of being part of a community, and it allows you to meet people that you might not interact with in your day-to-day life. You don't necessarily interact with the same people at school or work or in your neighborhood that you meet when you're volunteering somewhere. And I think that it's really special to be able to give back to the community and to also become more of a part of the community by doing that.
I agree 100%. And honestly, the volunteers are the heart and soul of the Volunteer Center and actually of Montgomery County. We have so many nonprofits that really wouldn't survive if it weren't for the volunteers.
Absolutely.
As you mentioned, one of your main responsibilities is managing the Tax Aide Program. What exactly is this program?
So this is an amazing program that we are able to offer by partnering with AARP Foundation. So they host the program, and then we provide support through our AmeriCorps Seniors. And basically, we're offering free tax preparation to anyone who lives or works in Montgomery County. So we have 14 public sites that will be open to the community all throughout tax aid season at convenient places like libraries and community centers. And it's volunteer run. So they're volunteers who have been highly trained. They've gone through months and months of training. They have to pass IRS and Maryland certification exams, but then they're there to sit down and spend 1, 2, 3, 4 hours with you going through your documents and helping you file for your taxes, which is just incredible.
So do you have to be a member of AARP, or do you have to be low income, a certain age, any of those qualifications?
Nope, no restrictions whatsoever. We're trying to especially focus on folks that may have lower income thresholds, or maybe seniors who don't necessarily have other options for filing their taxes, but anyone is welcome to do it. We love having folks come in, filing their taxes for the very first time at 18, 19, 20 years old. Families come in who have multiple children, and then people who are retired or older. All people from all demographics are welcome to get their taxes filed through us.
See, that's great information because I did not know that. I thought you actually had to be a member of AARP or a senior, which I am not. So that's really good information. Are you still looking for volunteers? And if so, how many?
Not at this point for this year, just because tax season kicks off in the beginning of February. So we're pretty much locked in and about to roll out. But we are always looking for volunteers for next year. So we'll start recruiting for those probably come October, November. So just keep an eye out on the Montgomery County Volunteer Center website for volunteer opportunities if you think you want to get involved next fall for the next tax season.
Now, you mentioned that there were certain certifications that they needed. What can anyone volunteer and then get certified, or do you need to be an accountant or have been an accountant in a previous life? What are the specifics?
Mhm. That's a great question, Sandy. So if you were an accountant in a previous life, that just will boost you up and make you the perfect person to volunteer as a tax counselor. But we actually have a few roles. So you could be a tax counselor. That's the person that's actually preparing the taxes. But we also have people who volunteer as client facilitators on site to welcome people as they show up, and as schedulers to answer the phones and help get people signed up for a time slot. So the client facilitator and scheduler roles, you don't need to have an accounting or tax background at all. Tax counselor, most people who do that have done their family taxes over the years or are a retired accountant, but we are set up so that if you are very driven and you're good at studying and preparing, the training is for anyone. So you're going to dedicate a lot of time, but if you're able to pass certain tests and you're good with numbers, you could be a tax counselor.
What type of training is provided and what is the time frame? So in other words, the commitment to the training, how long does that
So
take?
the commitment, if you're going to be a tax counselor, it's going to be most of your January. So you really need to know that, all right, we're through the holidays, it's cold outside. I want to sit down and focus on something to get me through the rest of winter. And you're going to have online trainings, both through like Zoom meetings and then also self-paced guide trainings. And then there's also in-person meetings and trainings as well. The commitment's a little bit less for people who want to be a client facilitator or scheduler. There are still a few meetings and requirements throughout the month of January. But if it's something that you want to do, it really is a valuable use of your time, and it's a way to really help so many in the community.
And the certifications don't go away. So once you receive that certification through the training, you can use it forever, or do you have to train every year? So if you're a volunteer, let's say you're a volunteer this year, do you have to go through the same training next year and the year after?
You do have to go through the same training. However, I'm told it gets easier year after year. I've never been through the training. But the one thing that does happen in this country is tax laws change. So we want to make sure that the people doing the tax preparation are up to date on the most recent tax laws. So that's why they do the training year after year. But it's also good practice, because if you do a bunch of tax preparation February, March, and April, and then you're off for the rest of the year, you're going to want to get your feet wet before you're thrown back in with clients and real cases. So you want to make sure that you're ready to go and help them out. And a lot of the training is just mock tax returns. So you're able to actually get that hands-on practice before you're working one-on-one with an individual.
Right. And you definitely don't want to just be thrown in there. So once you become a volunteer, and for the Tax Aide Program specifically, then how much time do you have to allot to actually doing the tax preparation? In other words, do you have to say complete a certain number of tax forms in a certain amount of time, or is it at your leisure?
So we ask that if you're going to sign up to volunteer, you're willing to commit 6 hours to 1 6-hour shift each week from February through April. And that's really so that we can plan to have consistent availability for people to get their returns completed. If you have a vacation for a week scheduled somewhere in there, let us know ahead of time. We can work around that. We just need to make sure that we have consistent presence at each of our tax sites so that we don't have to shut down for a week or anything like that. But each tax site is only typically open one day a week. So your commitment's not daily, it's really weekly.
Okay. And just for those people that are out there, they're a little nervous about having someone prepare their taxes for them. The volunteers are not taking people's personal information home with them. The taxes are prepared at that time on site, correct?
Correct. We have a no save paper policy. So everything you bring in to have your taxes done leaves with you. And if it's left
Yes.
behind, we hunt you down to bring it back to you, or it goes through our shredders. So we have a shredder at each site, and then everything is digitally entered through AARP and IRS sponsored software. So there's nothing saved on any personal computers, and no one can take home access to your data.
Okay, perfect. That's wonderful. I know people are
Absolutely.
very nervous these days.
As they should be.
Yeah. So Lindsay, when do the phone lines open for Tax Aide? When can people start calling in, scheduling appointments? I'm assuming they have to schedule appointments. When does that start?
Yeah, so we ask everyone to schedule an appointment so we can make sure that we're ready for them and that there's plenty of time allocated to each client. So the online scheduling system or the phone line, either option opens January 31st. And starting that date, you can schedule online 24/7 at montgomerycountymaryland.gov/volunteer center/tax aide, or you can call 240-777-2577 anytime Monday through Friday from 9 to 4. And I will tell you that the phone lines do not have a voicemail set up, so just keep calling, and you'll get through to someone, I promise.
Okay, that's great. That's great to know. So once they call, they schedule the appointment to come in, and then how long is the wait time usually between the time you call and the time you can schedule an appointment?
We should be able to get you in pretty soon, at least at the beginning. We do recommend that you call by March 2nd to make sure that you're able to get in before tax day, just because it does get busy. And it really does depend on where you want to go. So we have locations all throughout the county, but they are only open typically 1 day a week. So if you're really set on making sure that you're able to go right down the street, it might be a week or two before you're able to go. But if you're willing to drive or take the bus to somewhere farther out from your home, you might be able to get scheduled in a little bit sooner. And the tax scheduler will go over all the options with you on the phone, and they're also going to tell you everything that you need to bring to your appointment. So when you get there, you're ready to go.
Perfect. Perfect. So you mentioned earlier that you're also responsible for 2 other programs that are running at the Volunteer Center. What are those 2 briefly? I know this is mostly about Tax Aide, but if we could just briefly discuss what they are and what they do.
Awesome. Yeah. So one really cool program is with the Montgomery County Department of Health and Human Services. We partner with them for their Bone Builders program. So this program I like to describe as low impact exercise classes that are run by volunteers, and they're really to keep you as you age nice and strong and healthy, and you can work on balance, you work on strength, and people have a ton of fun participating in those. So those are all throughout the county too. You can look those up online. And then the other one is in-house with our own Montgomery County Volunteer Center. It's our 50+ volunteer network. And this is our matching service that we're really proud to offer. So if you look on our website and you just can't even decide where to start volunteering, you can complete an application with us, and then we assign you to an advisor who will interview you and discuss what you're interested in, what your skills are, maybe from your career, what you really want to spend your time doing. And then they go back and we have some pre-vetted opportunities and organizations and agencies that they sit down with and match you to. And so they'll send you 2, 3, 4 potential matches, and then you get to choose who you want to work with.
We've been speaking with Lindsay Luhn. Thank you for joining us today, Lindsay.
Thank you so much, Sandy, for having me. It's just such an honor to be on the show and to get to work with you and share what's going on with the Volunteer Center. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we're very happy to have you, and we know you will do a great job, and welcome.
Thank you.
If you're interested in this or any other volunteer opportunities, please visit our website, montgomeryserves.org. I'm your host, Sandy Smith. Thank you for joining us today, and be sure to make a difference.